Hi, I'm Joe. And have you ever gotten a piece of junk mail that was just really annoying? I mean, it looked great and it got your hopes up for a second, but then after a while you realize, just fucking junk. Well, without further ado, here's what the average consumer thinks of Nebraska.
This is Woody Grant.
We are now authorized to pay $1 million to Woodrow T. Grant of Billings, Montana.
This is his son.
You didn't win anything. It's a complete scam. So you gotta stop this, okay?
I'm running out of time.
This is his wife.
I never knew the son of a bitch even wanted to be a millionaire. You should have thought about that years ago and worked for it.
How much longer is he gonna be around? And what's the harm in letting him have his little fantasy for just a couple more days?
Nebraska is a simple story about a 35-year-old man who takes his elderly senile father on a statewide road trip to collect an unlikely sweepstakes prize. Along the way, they stop in the father's childhood hometown, where the son discovers how and why his parents turned out the way they did. And I really like this movie. I personally really connected with it. I'm going to give this movie a recommend. Will Forte, who you might know from 30 Rock, Saturday Night Live, MacGruber, he kills it in this movie. He is absolutely outstanding, amazing. I mean, he really sells the emotional tone of this movie. It is very subtle the way he shows he reacts to his father's confusion and how his father's childhood friends treat him. Will Forte helps make this movie. Sorry for reading the notes. Helps make this movie as sentimental as it was. Will Forte sells the emotional tone of this movie, and Bruce Dern, my God, even better. He made me feel compassionate about what otherwise could have been a annoying, funny, unlikable character. He made the father character sympathetic and tragic, and he made me want to care for him. He made me want to take care of him, and he made me want to take him on the. He sold the premise of the movie by being so fragile and likable. And underdogish, if I read it correctly. And June Squibb, I'm sorry if I'm, and Bob Odenkirk, who you might know from Breaking Bad, they were great as these two background characters. They played the mom and the brother, respectively. And they were great. They sold the emotional reality of the movie. And all the other background characters from the town they stop in, they could have been funny, but they're not. They made it dramatic. They played it straight. They weren't over the top. They weren't too evil that you hated them. They were realistic and unlikable, which is important to this movie. There were a few scenes I thought didn't belong in this movie that kind of slowed it down, that didn't really add anything to it. But overall, the emotional tone really got to me personally, and I really liked it. And I'm giving it a recommend, and that's what the average consumer thinks of Nebraska.